Over the years, there has been a daily rush for the citizens of Kohima to find proper parking space. And it seems buying a car is more easier than getting a proper parking space in the streets of Kohima town and the residential areas. Now, with the increase in vehicles, in 2023 alone, 14,113 vehicles were registered, out of which 6,008 were under Kohima RTO Regional Transport Office. And in the month of July, 213 vehicles were registered with 413 permits issued to them. This number may be small for you and I, however, it is just a sign of how rampant this problem is. Now, the question is, how do we carve out a proper parking system and solve this traffic congestion issue? To get to know more on the issue, we felt it was only right to have an in-depth interview with some of the concerned NGOs and the concerned authorities. But remember, we are not here to give our opinions. We are here to listen and simply bring you the truth.
You have asked me whether we have written any letter to the government regarding to the traffic congestion and anything we are taking up to ease the traffic congestion. So, as you have been asking, not recently, maybe 2 to 3 years ago, we have written a letter to DC requesting him for 3 things. Number 1 was pertaining to the taxi parking space out there in supply office area, which is in PR Hill, just above the PHQ police point. So we requested the Deputy Commissioner to shift those 2 parking areas to the outskirts of Kohima town, because they are going beyond Kohima. So any taxis that are going beyond Kohima, they have to be parked outside the perimeter of the town. That's what we asked him. And yes, the authorities, they have given us a positive answer saying that they will take necessary action. Meanwhile, they have also issued an order saying to shift those 2. But till today, it was not shifted. It was not materialized. So the same taxis are still parking there. The second request, an appeal we asked the government is to dismantle some shades who have been constructed at TCP gate, making it very congested to the road. So we have said that they have to dismantle those things to ease traffic problems. And the public also doesn't have any parking space. So we said those things has to be dismantled. Accordingly, the government have taken necessary action to dismantle all those. So today it's empty and we got some parking space. So I think that is okay. Regulatory part, it is not our duty. So regulation, the government, the police will do, traffic will do, or maybe if necessary, the wards also can assist sometimes. So we ask the government to give us some liberty so that anybody who intend to buy a new vehicle, they are residing in the wards. So let the concerned ward give a clearance certificate saying that anybody who wants to buy a new vehicle should first obtain that clearance from the ward, certifying that they have got parking space in the compound. They will first apply from the colony, and after the colony, the wards give the clearance. Then only government should give a certificate to the RTO or anybody, whoever it may be, the concerned competent authority, so that they can allow those people who want to intend to buy a new vehicle to buy it after obtaining the certificate from the ward, saying that they have got parking area in their vicinity. So that is the one we have asked. So at that point of time, that point was kept in silence. So we gave a reminder letter, this time addressing addressing DPDB, because DC is the chairman of DPDB again. The first letter we have addressed DC, but since action was not taken on that, we thought we'll write to DPDB, because DPDB is a bigger body where they decide for the district. So the DPDB can discuss the matter in their discussion. We have written directly to the chairman DPDB. So the DPDB and a copy to Deputy Commissioner, who is the same person. So we wrote it to DPDB, and it seems they have deliberated the issue, and everybody appreciated our proposal. So they forwarded to the government. Now, when they forwarded to the government, they put up, the file went up to Commissionerate Office, Commissionerate of Transport. So the Commissionerate of Transport, they have given a suggestion that this issue is very important and it has to be deliberated soon. Likewise, the Transport Department wrote to the Municipal and Urban Department saying that a committee should be formed to discuss about this issue. And if I'm not mistaken, that was 2 years ago. Till today, the issue was not taken by the government. If at all, in 3 years, 6,000 vehicles comes to Kohima. Just see the population of the vehicle out here. It will surely become saturated. And now we are in the saturated stage. We cannot park our vehicle in the town. The shopkeepers, they open the shop early when the streets are all empty. So they'll bring their vehicle and park it in front of the shop. So without the customers or the public vehicles also, even the shopkeepers' vehicles are all crowded in the town. So now at this juncture, 2 multi-parkings are made, and it is heard that those 2 are already completed. I don't know why the government is delaying. As far as I know, it can accommodate more than 150 vehicles in each building. So I think government will have to see all those and then try to ease the problem we are facing in the town. If we cannot stop it, we have to minimize and try to do something where we can, the growth of vehicle population in the town should gradually come down. Otherwise, at this juncture, at this pace, every year, if more than 2,000 vehicles are coming to Kohima, how can we survive? That is one thing. Okay, we understand urbanization is going on. But the thing is that we have to regulate the system here. See, Kohima is deteriorating in a sense that vehicle is one source. Number 2 is rate of essential commodities are not controlled. In Kohima, let us talk about Kohima, let us not talk about Nagaland. But in Kohima, if I'm not mistaken, there is a committee called Rate Fixation Committee, which was not held for the last 15 years. Has the government fixed any rate to sell loose sand bricks in Kohima? There is no rate at all. If you buy sand from Dimapur, you buy in CFT system, per CFT. Suppose per CFT is 48 rupees. In Kohima, it will be 60 rupees per CFT, they say. And in Kohima, they don't sell in CFT, cubic feet. They sell in tina. The tina is very small, not 1 CFT. So we can imagine a Tata Mobile is charging you 700 rupees. And the laborers loading, unloading, they are charging you 400 rupees. Who has fixed the rate? At least we also feel that there should be a competent authority, a concerned authority, a local authority who can fix such rates, and then we will follow it. But there is nobody to fix the rate. A laborer is charging now 800 rupees. Who has fixed the rate? A mistri now a mason, he is charging 9 to 1,000 rupees per day. Who is fixing all those rates? I think there is nobody. There are multiple problems out here in Kohima. And at this juncture, we cannot follow the building bylaws also, because government cannot give the compensation. We talk about building bylaws. It has to be implemented. Government has brought it out, but it cannot be implemented because you cannot just dismantle somebody's house without giving some compensation. So many a times I have told the government also during meetings, let a new Kohima come up from somewhere, and then their bylaw to cholai take formulate karibina. All town this has become stagnant. We cannot do anything. Anyway, still we can do something if government gives the interest.
Do you think the saturation of Kohima traffic in residential as well as in town is maybe due to improper planning and failure on the part of the government as well as the representatives?
We cannot blame the government also. But the thing is, we are not trying to say come up with immediate actions to solve our problems. We are just sleeping. It's not that government is not concerned. Government is concerned. But delay is one thing, no. We are not prompt.
As the president of Association of Kohima Municipal
Ward
Panchayat, in your meetings among all the wards and colonies, where do you think Kohima is most heavily affected by this parking congestion?
That's a good question, a very big question. And let me tell you, it's everywhere in Kohima. There is no excuse in any colony or any ward. Everywhere.
Are there any specific representatives from colonies who constantly bring this issue also?
We see from our eyes that some roads are big, some roads are small. But the sickness faced by all the ward is same. We need the same medicine to heal those problems. Otherwise, we cannot separately try to heal or treat different wards in a different way. There should be a yardstick. Whether the road is big or small is not the issue. The problem is how to solve the problem in Kohima. You see, now in Kohima town, there is no space to park your vehicle. Let me tell you, I have experienced that, especially since this year. Parking your vehicle in the town has become almost impossible now. You take 2 rounds, D block, town, you take 2 rounds, 3 rounds and try to find an empty space. You'll never get. I've experienced that 2-3 times. Now we need parking area, parking space, which government should facilitate. We private people cannot do. So in our initial discussion, I told you that the 2 multi-parking areas, those has to be urgently open. And see how it will be. After opening that also, maybe we'll face the same problem. Still then, we have hope. A little bit of hope is there. We can see the light in the long tunnel, still that side of the tunnel. So let us see that initially. And we have also resolved recently that we'll write another reminder to the authorities. So till today we have not written, but very soon we'll write it again. I hope from every corner people will try to assist that.
With the one main issue from the public of traffic in Kohima, and there's a burning issue every day, what inputs have you gotten from your constituency, the Kohima town, regarding this?
Yeah, it's a talk of the town that whoever comes out to do their day-to-day work, they say, I've been stuck up in traffic for 1 hour, 2 hours, or a few minutes. And we all know life has to move on. Everybody likes keep on moving. So when you're stuck up in traffic, you get irritated. And the only thing you do is you blame the government, you blame the leaders. But sometimes it's a collective effort that is required to solve such problems. Yes, as leaders, it is our duty to give suggestions, to make some rules and regulations. But are the public in a position to follow that? That is also important. So it's a collective effort. Yeah, I'm trying my best. We'll shortly, very soon, we'll come out with some traffic regulation so that the Kohima town will have a life that keeps on moving, not stagnant. Yeah.
As a citizen of Kohima, I'm sure you must have also faced the traffic congestion on your way and back. What do you feel about the privatization of public spaces, especially roads, by the shopkeepers or the people around town, taking public space as their own for their customers or maybe for their own cars?
Yeah. Yes, emergency services centers like hospitals or maybe the fire service department. Some parking space may be already booked for the officials or for the consultants. But as a shop owner, you cannot just say that the space in front of your shop is only for your customers. It is for the public, so anybody can park. Nobody should just take those parking spaces as their private property. Yeah.
So we understand that people do not tend to follow that. They tend to forcefully occupy that space, even after having such interventions. So how to deal with such ideas actually, because these are not these ideas.
So as I said earlier, if a vehicle is parked the whole day in a particular place, he may be the proprietor of the shop or the one who runs the business. So in such a case, government should fix something that is a light vehicle or a medium vehicle that he should pay this much per month for that. Though he's a shop, he's the owner of the establishment, this much he has to pay. But indirectly, he is just obstructing his customers' parking. So it's his own loss, but he has to pay for that. But otherwise, the remaining space, he cannot say it is for his customers only. It should be for the public.
Do you think the traffic congestion is also maybe due to the factor that poor planning and failure on part of somewhere in the government is because of this, because not proper traffic regulations has also been provided to the people?
Yes, being in charge of traffic by the traffic department, they should also take some responsibility that it is part of their failure. But when we see the traffic regulation, the routes, everything is in written, everything is in order, but public don't follow, number one. And so as a new MLA of the town, yes, I'm thinking, planning that the best way to keep moving is to have a one-way. It may be a longer route for everyone, but when we think in terms of time consumed to reach a destination, it will be much lesser. So one way is the only solution, and we'll have much more parking spaces. Knowing that if you park your vehicle on the left or right, leaving a space for another vehicle to pass. And at the same time, knowing that from the opposite side, no vehicle is coming because it's one way during that period. Then life will be much easier. Your work can be done in a shorter time, and you'll have more parking space instead of allowing two-way.
As a representative, you have been in Kohima, born and brought up in Kohima. What are the plans you have for reducing and at the same time including the one way? Do you have any other plans to also solve this traffic issue that we are having in our main town?
Yeah. Yes, if we listen to the suggestions given by some public, given by some authority, people are suggesting that until and unless you have a parking place to prove, you cannot buy a vehicle. That is one suggestion. Some people suggest that 1 or 2 vehicles per family. Some people suggest that also. But to implement such things, it may not be that easy. It may not be that easy. So it should be the responsibility of each and every citizen that now, take example from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I should repark my vehicle to a proper place, to a wider place, so that I don't cause traffic congestion within these 12 hours. It should be the responsibility of each and every citizen, so that the main lifelines are not obstructed. Not necessarily just our day-to-day moving, but even sometimes fire incident where we need emergency fire service, we need fire brigades to come. When vehicles are parked, then it's a gone case. Vehicles cannot come, and then disaster, the fire will destroy everything. So, or an ambulance to overtake another vehicle. It is not possible with parking on the roadside. So it is the duty of each and every citizen that it's going to be 8 a.m., I have to repark my vehicle so that wider space is available for the public. That is one. But as I said, we will try to regulate the traffic. As much as possible, it will be one way in order to reduce the conflict zones. That is one. And also the public, we have 19 wards. If one ward can implement and the public is following that, why not we take it as a model ward and let other wards follow the same thing? Yes, it is possible. It is possible. It is possible. And as I said earlier, when you calculate mathematically, to get stuck in traffic for 1 hour, one vehicle, 1 hour, 24 vehicles is a day. We have lost 1 day if 24 vehicles get stuck for 1 hour. So if it multiply that by 30, if 720 vehicles are stuck in the traffic for 1 hour, we have lost 1 month. It's a big loss to the society, it's a big loss to our economy. So the only way to improve our economy is have proper traffic regulation so that life moves on. In a short span, you can finish your work, your day-to-day work. You can return home in time. You can do some other work. You can do 2-3 works in a day instead of spending hours in traffic and hardly do 1 work. So that's my mathematical calculation that if you lose 720 hours, you are losing 1 month. Yeah.
So how long do you think it would take to have such a system in place, that eases traffic and all this?
With the authority, maybe with the deputy commissioner, maybe with the SP and the traffic sector. And also, yes, with the community, maybe colony youths, or maybe our Kohima village youth, if they can come forward to help the government, we can implement such a one-way route for a week or so, and finds that life moves faster, works get done faster with such regulation. Why not implement? I think everybody will agree with that. So maybe, yes, shortly we'll come out with such regulation, and then we'll take the help of the colony youth as well as Kohima village youth, and maybe DC, SP. And we can implement for a week or so. If things goes well, I'm sure it can become a permanent route. That's one way. Yeah.
The initiative for the residential areas, the new residential parking system trial has been done in some colonies. Can you highlight us on that?
So it has not been implemented yet. So of course we had a discussion in RTA meeting also. So many time what we face the issue is the parking mainly on the roadsides by the residents. So you can't completely blame them also. So what they will do, like they got the vehicles, but at least we are telling the wards to have a parking committees. It's not that we are decentralizing everything, but at least have a parking committee intact. Then do a data analysis like how many vehicles are there in one particular ward or colony, so that and how many parking spaces are there. So if there is any shortage or if there are some extra, identify that. And let us make sure that we don't park in both the sides, because which will create a huge traffic jam. So we are planning to involve the organization like ward panchayat and councils and everyone. Then get this in line. So as a beginning, we are like targeting 4 to 5 colonies which are on the main road stretch, and we'll be experimenting that very soon. So before that, we need to do a capacity building for them. Like we cannot just let them go and do it also. Like so we need to have a capacity building and brainstorming session. So that is what we'll have first.
The chairman of New Market yesterday, while interacting, informed us that the road below New Market, there was actually a space for 30 to 40 cars parking. And previously, some officials and SDO, they came, they checked.
Yes.
However, no further information was provided to them whether that would be turned into a parking lot or after the survey. So
Yeah.
are you aware of that, sir?
Yeah, so we only did the survey in 2022 towards the later part. So what we did is we went around the colonies. We divided into teams which were comprising of administrative officers, then police, ward colonies, GBs and everyone. They went around. So each and every location they identified like parking, no parking, like one set parking, or if we have a parking, how many vehicles can be parked. So the detailed analysis was done, and it was even shared in the RTA meeting also. Then we had a discussion even with the police. But at the same time, we have to think from the police perspective also. Of course, you can have a lot of pockets here and there, but police is also short of manpower. They cannot put manpower in each and every nook and corner of every ward and colony. So that is why police was asking us sometime that they can start experimenting one colony after the other. So that is that's why like we are not able to go at a stretch in all the wards and colonies. So as a beginning, as I said, the 4-5 colonies what we are planning to do regarding the parking and the other measures will be starting, and slowly we'll be going into the other wards and colonies.
According to you, the traffic congestion in Kohima town, especially in our town, main town, there are instances that people are making privatization of the public roads. Public, especially the road, the shopkeepers or even some of the customers are just keeping their cars and then they're going. And there's also land encroachment also in there. So do you think that an order can be given up from your end to make sure that public spaces are open for all?
See, the thing is that of course I can issue a number of orders. I can issue 50 or 100 orders also, but the implementation in a reality check is very important. So what actually causes the traffic jam? Is it because we are not doing anything? Is it because the public is not abiding by the laws? So there are multiple reasons. So every year, as I said, 800 to 1000 new vehicles get registered in Kohima. But at the same time, no old vehicle get phased out. We still have buses, we still have taxis, we still have private cars who are like so old and still running. Because we also are not going up to a very strict mechanism where you check the pollution certificate of a vehicle, and if they are not compliant enough, then you phase it out. So actually the development is gradual, right? You phase out the past and come to the future. So that is not happening. So every year the vehicles are getting added. And we also appealed the public to do a carpooling system when coming to office. And even the shop, like they can do a carpooling. Suppose 3 of us are in nearby houses, we can do one carpooling. We can take one car and go to a place. But like you can't just go and tell the public you have a car but don't use it. They have a car and they want to use it. And the point you mentioned about the shop owners parking the vehicle, yes, that is a major cause, because what happens, they come early morning around 8:30 to the shop and they park the vehicle, and the vehicle is just lying on the main road till late evenings, because that vehicle is not using in between, right? So that is causing a traffic jam. So of course we will be issuing directions and all, but since you are a media and definitely we are doing kind of an interview which may reach public. So what I want to appeal the public is that of course I can give out orders, we can do a penalty mechanism and everything, but at the same time, without the cooperation of the public and understanding it that that's for the good of everyone, then there is no solution. So ideally, if the shop owners, they want to come to the shops, like someone, or we can do something that they come and get dropped, and evening whenever they want, someone comes and picks them up. Just for example, if possible, so that the vehicle just don't lie there in the main roads throughout the day, but it will be safely there in your own places. So we have to do multiple measures.
So mechanisms like that, it already exists to check.
In paper, many things exist, but definitely what will happen is that we do a checking verification, but our teams also cannot go on verification every day. Because, for example, we gave out directions for off-road vehicles and construction materials just lying on the roads. So we did some mechanism, then we did verification where the teams went, then pulled these off-road vehicles and dumped in somewhere in the designated areas by the police. But the police also cannot do it every day, right? Like the police also has things to do, and the penal mechanisms are such that the public or the commuters, we don't repeat it again. So that's why. So definitely the measures are in place. We'll mobilize the teams and do it. But moreover, the civil society, the society as a whole, if we understand and come forward. So that is why we are planning a little bit of decentralization here towards the ward and colony level, where they also take a stock of what is happening within the ward and colonies.
So it seems like as we were talking to the president of the AKMWP,
Okay.
so because they cannot initiate any action towards all this because they feel that this authority, some sort of authority comes from the government. So they wait for the government to, firstly initiate something and
Okay.
then only they will follow.
Yeah.
That is what they.
In every democratic country, the whole concept of government is not only the power and authority, but streamlining something. Otherwise, like as an individual, we cannot just go and find anyone, right? So all these pressure groups and organizations, they work close coordination with the government. We appreciate that, and we hope that they will continue to do so. But at the same time, as I said, a kind of coordination has to happen with the government, so that there is some legality in whatever we are doing. Otherwise, we cannot just go and charge some fine and collect things from any public, because that will not be valid in the court of law.
Do you feel that vegetable vendors in certain spots, especially in the main town, are also one of the factors that there is huge traffic congestion?
Yes, so we had a discussion with the KMC also in this. So street vendors are there. So ideally they are supported by the Street Vendors Act. But Street Vendors Act is saying that you have to provide a safe and secure place for them. But unfortunately, even from the KMC side and the government side, we are also not able to do that, right? To provide them as a alternate. Suppose we have a big hall or something where we can accommodate all of them. We can tell them that, okay, from tomorrow onwards, you're not going to sit on the streets. You'll be going and sitting there. But the thing is that we evict them, then what next? Where do they go? So then it will become a big thing again. So what we discussed with the KMC is that at least, even if on the streets or roads, at least find out spots where there are enough road width without disturbing the traffic. For example, like there is a lot of vendors sitting in the Rasu Point area, if you see. And personally, and even KMC also, we are not in support of that, because they are creating a lot of traffic because the road is already very narrow. So they have to be placed somewhere else where there is enough road width, so that at least the traffic doesn't get obstructed. So those measures will be taken up. We are in touch with KMC.
Do you think the traffic congestion is also due to improper planning and somewhere
100%. 100%. So it doesn't start this year or last year. The planning of any town has to start when the town grows. That we have to think for another 30-40 years. For example, we have heard the story of Chandigarh, the city of Chandigarh, where every sector, everything is like well planned, and parking, everything is so smooth. Because they haven't planned after building up everything, right? They are planning before you actually build up something, that this will be my city plan. So that kind of a city plan was absent in Kohima. It has not done till date. So we are all actually taking the bad fruits of that improper planning. So now we are trying to solve the mess, but the mess was created long back.
Do you think the meter system can be introduced in Kohima? Is it feasible enough for
I didn't get you. Meter system in the sense?
Parking meter system.
Parking. Okay. So I think we can start with the specific places. Like we have 2 new multi-level car parking, which is yet to be inaugurated but completed. One in NST area and one is that PHQ side. So we had deliberations on that even in the board of directors meeting. So I think it can start from there, the meter system. It has to be an automated parking where the vehicle goes and they will be charged on the number of hours they are parking, which is not only done in Nagaland, which is done all over the world. So I think we'll have to abide by that.
There also has been, there is one ward in Kohima that implements the rule that until unless you have garage or you have space, they don't certify or issue a certificate that you can have a car. That is implemented in Kohima. Do you think that it can be implemented in the rest of the 18 wards?
No, I think that is a very good initiative. I think even AKMWP, they must have talked to you that they have pushed it 1.5 years back, and the matter is lying with the government. So we'll be pursuing it, and if there can be a policy change like that, then nothing like it, because now anyone and everyone want to have a car for them and their family, but they don't have a parking space, so they occupy a lot of road spaces. So I think if some kind of a regulation can be done, I think that will be great. So we'll be pursuing that.
Sir, that representation was given 2 years back,
Okay.
and it was suggested even from the Department of Transport that a committee should be formed. However, that paper got lost somewhere in the middle.
It's not lost. I think the Transport Commissioner had sent it to Municipal Affairs, so we are yet to hear back from the Municipal Affairs. So I think 1-2 days back also I had a talk with this office bearers of a KMWP. So we'll be pursuing with the Municipal Affairs. I think they'll have to write back to us forming the committee. So the committee can be formed and it can be done.
So how far are the colony councils authorized to regulate things like this?
So they cannot go on regulating like on their own. Of course, there has to be a coordination with the government, and little bit of coordination and regulations definitely we will be asking them to do, requesting them to do. So till now, if you ask me, like they don't have a clear-cut regulations in paper. So I think whatever regulations and empowerment we are doing to the colonies, it has to be in black and white.
So what is the way forward now?
The way forward, there is like 3-4 ways it has to converge. Of course, one is that from the government level, we have to coordinate with the wards and colonies, and we have to work together for a greater good. And if we are even planning to charge some parking charges and all for those who are parking on the roadside, so I think the public will have to cooperate with us, because definitely you have a car, we understand, but if you are parking and taking the main road space, then some kind of a parking tax has to be there, so that there is some kind of a regulation, and that will be done through decentralization with the wards and colonies. So that can be one, and even random buying of car also has to stop. And even if you have a car, at least do a carpooling, because Kohima is like a capital city where you have a lot of government employees and a lot of government offices, and we have the departmental buses also moving around, but you can hardly find people sitting in the buses because people prefer to go by their own vehicles. So at least a carpooling, and even the departments, if they can promote employees at least from one particular location coming by bus, so that the number of vehicles get limited within the Kohima, I think that will be great. Then of course there are big metro cities which are done promoting two-wheelers, like even the cycles and scooters and everything. But cycle, of course, the terrain is not very friendly in Kohima, so that you cannot impose on public just to ride cycle. But at least little bit of two-wheelers, if you can promote, I think that will also make a lot of changes, because we don't have sufficient two-wheelers. You can see in Kohima town, it's all four-wheelers, all cars. And at the same time, a long-term solution will be a bypass road. Of course, the Kohima bypass is getting constructed now. It may take another 2-3 years. So once it is done, all the Imphal bound or Dimapur bound traffic, it can pass through that bypass road, so that the town traffic will be limited to the town commuters. So these are the long-term solutions.
So it seems like issues and talks, they keep on happening between
Yes.
government and NGOs. But when it comes to implementing it,
Exactly.
there is something that we do not see.
Exactly. So, of course, I don't agree or disagree to it blanketly. Definitely, there are talks going on, there are delays. We also accept. So, we are not saying that government is 100% correct. We also have our own flaws. But past is past. So, whatever has happened is happened. So, I think from here on, if you don't take decisions through coordination, and at least it can be right or wrong, but take decisions and move ahead. That is more important, because the government, whatever decisions is going to take, it may not be right at the very beginning. There are some wrong decisions also will be taken. So that time the societies and the NGOs, they can pinpoint and we can have the corrective measures. But I think at least time has come to take some decisions. Indecisiveness is actually a curse. So I think we are assuring the public that we'll at least take some decisions in coordination, definitely some of the decision will be some kind of an inconvenience for the public in the beginning. But if you think over a long run, it will save all of us, the town.